Greetings and welcome to Fantastical Science with Miss Jenny. In this series, I transform from librarian to scientist. In this series, we focus on doing STEAM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Math. And today, we're focusing on the M for Math. Yuck. I know. I'll be one of the first to admit it was not my favorite subject in school, and I was one of those that actually enjoyed going to school and learning. But the fact of the matter is, math is everywhere you look, including in the kitchen.
No. It was his job to be unexpected. It is our job to follow the recipe.
You see, cooking and baking both require lots of math, because you need to make sure that you have the right measurements, otherwise your food is not going to taste right. As always, these are experiments that you can do at home with items you find around your house. However, because these are food-based, you might have to go to the food store to get some of the specific things that we're going to be working with today. But the first thing I'm going to teach you how to make is your very own homemade lemon lime soda. For this experiment, you are going to need water, baking soda, a measuring cup of half a cup and a quarter cup, and you will need lemon juice, which you can either buy as a bottle or use fresh lemons, and lime. You can either use a fresh lime or lime juice found in the same aisle as the lemon juice, a cup, and a teaspoon. If you happen to have a juicer, I do find it helps, but you don't have to. Now, if you're using real lemons and limes, you will need adult assistance to take a knife and a cutting board and cut your lemons and limes. And then you're going to need about a quarter cup of each, a quarter cup of lemon juice, a quarter cup of lime juice, totaling half a cup. I told you, lots of math in cooking. Now, I like to use the juicer because I find it so much easier to get all that good juicy juiciness out. Again, you may need adult assistance because, especially limes, they don't like to give up their juice easily. But once you've got about half a cup total of lemon and lime juice, you are then going to add water to it. In fact, you're going to measure out half a cup of water. Now, in my measuring cup here today, it's actually a 2-cup measurement. So I've got a quarter cup here, half cup here, whole cup there. All right, so I did my lime. I'm going to finish off with some lemon. For the sake of time, I'm going to do the easier one. Whole cup worth of lemon lime. Then I'm going to pour it into my drinking cup. Once we've poured in the liquid, now it's time to get out granulated sugar. It's regular sugar. They just say granulated just so you don't get the powdered sugar. That's used for baking, and we're not doing that today. Good old-fashioned sugar. And you're going to measure out half a cup. Now, because I used liquids in this one, I'm going to use a different half cup measurement for my dry one. Because what you find is if you try and put dry things in something that you've already measured wet, it'll stick because that's what happens. So that's why in cooking, there's often a lot of cleaning involved because you use a lot of different measuring tools. All right? And you're going to put all that sugar in your cup. Now comes the fun science part. You're going to take your baking soda and you're going to measure out 1 teaspoon of baking soda. You're going to measure it out, and you're going to pour it in, and it's fizzing! And in fact, what is happening here is Baking soda is what's called a sodium bicarbonate. And what that means is it's mixing with the acid of the lemon juice, and it's creating all the fizz and making basically a homemade Sprite. Sierra Mist, 7-Up, call whatever name you want it. It's a lemon lime soda. Woo! It's tart. But you can add more sugar if you want to make it more sugary. You can add more lemon if you want more lemon. You can also add more water if you feel like it's a little too lemony and you need just a little bit more moisture. But that's exactly how you make your very own homemade lemon lime soda. Well, we've made homemade lemon lime soda. Now I'm going to show you how to make your very own homemade ice cream. What you're going to need is whole milk, heavy whipping cream, vanilla extract, some sort of coarse salt. So coarse salt, rock salt, you can even get one called ice cream salt. You're going to need ice, granulated sugar again, and all kinds of tools like you need to be able to measure out cups, half a cup, quarter cups. You're going to need what are called quart or pint size Ziploc bags, whichever ones you have around your house will work just fine, and gallon Ziploc bags. I find that having 2 of each helps to make it a little bit sturdier. You're also going to need oven mitts or a towel if you don't have oven mitts. And you're going to need a teaspoon. Now I know I've been talking about teaspoons and showing you this one. You might actually find regular teaspoons, but fun little fact, the spoons you have in your regular utensil drawer, the big one is called a tablespoon, the small one is called a teaspoon. And they pretty much measure what they are called. You can measure out this and it's about a tablespoon, and you can measure out the small one, it's about a teaspoon, just like their names. All that to say, let's get to making ice cream. So we're going to take bag number 1, the nice small quart size, and in it we're going to measure out. We're going to take our teaspoon and our vanilla extract. So the nice thing about vanilla is you don't need a lot of it to get a nice strong vanilla flavor. So you're going to measure that. I know it gets very messy, that's why I have the tablecloth, into your bag. You're also going to take your sugar and you're going to measure out a quarter cup of sugar. So this is what half a cup looks like. And like I said, a lot of math in cooking. A half of a half is a quarter. So sometimes you may not have the exact measuring tool you need, but you use math to help you convert. So I have a quarter cup of sugar that I'm going to put inside my bag. Then we get to measure out our liquids. So using the nice big one, because I'm going to need 2 cups of liquid all together, I'm going to need, well actually I'm going to do a little bit less because I'm going to make just a little bit of ice cream. If you want to double it, again using math, you can always make more if there's more people in your family who want to make this together. But for today, we're going to measure out half a cup of heavy whipping cream, which is my first line on my thing. Then I'm going to measure out half a cup of whole milk, again using math, half plus half equals a whole, so I'm going to go up to the 1 cup and have my milk and cream. And we're going to pour both those liquids into my bag. Then we're going to seal it up. You want to try and get as much air out of the bag as possible. And I know that's hard to do when there's liquid inside, but you want as little air as possible. And then make sure you zip it closed really well. If you have duct tape or masking tape, you can use that to really make sure that none of the cream gets out. If you don't, you can use a second bag and do the good old-fashioned double bagging method. But same principle, no extra air if at all possible. All right, so that's that. Now in our big one, we're gonna measure out 2 cups of ice. So I'm gonna take out some ice from my ice chest and measure out about 2 cups. It's a big block of ice, but that's okay because I found out yesterday it doesn't matter because it will do exactly what you need it to do inside your bag. Now, I did also find the hard way that because you are shaking a bag of ice, the ice tends to puncture holes in it. So again, if you want to double bag it, I would highly advise it. So once you have 2 cups of ice, just for good measure, you're also going to need to take your salt. Rock salt, coarse salt, ice cream salt, whatever kind of salt you have, you're going to need a total of half a cup. And you're going to put that salt, once you've measured it out, into the ice. See, the science that happens here is that salt lowers the temperature at which ice melts. So by adding the salt, the ice becomes colder. And then you're going to take your cream bag and you're going to put it inside and you're going to help turn it into ice cream, hence the name. Now, this next part will require you to shake the bag for 10 minutes. Yes, you heard me right, 10 minutes. You might need to get a family member to help you because you're going to need to shake that bag, shake it. Now, you will notice it's really cold. So if you have oven mitts or a towel, you might want to put those on your hands so that it doesn't get too cold. Usually we use oven mitts when something's super hot, but here we're doing it because it's super cold. After you do this for 10 minutes, after 10 minutes, open up the gallon bag and squish the cream inside. If it's hard, you've got yourself ice cream. If it's still a little soft, you might need to shake it a little bit more to make true ice cream. And then the best part is take a spoon and dig in because you have officially made ice cream in a bag. Good job. I even found that if you mix that ice cream with that homemade lemon lime soda, you can get yourself a sherbet, just like a root beer float, but one you made yourself, all on your own using math. I have one more for you. Now I realize for the last experiment, you probably had to buy a container of heavy whipping cream. What to do with the rest of it, you ask? I'm so glad you asked. I'm going to show you how to make your very own homemade block o' butter.
Butter.
So you'll need, of course, heavy whipping cream. Now the only downside to this experiment is it needs to be room temperature. So you may have to leave it out. One book I read said 9 hours. Given that it's Arizona, you probably don't need to leave it out that long, but just keep checking it. And when it no longer feels cold to the touch, it's about room temperature. All right? And you're gonna need to measure out, depending on how much you have left over, it works either way. If you only have a cup worth, 1.5 cups, 2 cups, I've seen recipes for all of them. All you basically need to make sure is it's room temperature. Then you're going to pour it into a Ziploc quart-size bag. Again, I found that doing the double bagging did help because again, you're going to be doing a lot of shaking. Again, you may need to use a family member or friend Or maybe you can use science and come up with a way to shake something without having to shake your own arms, like some sort of pulley system. Yeah, I don't know. See what you can come up with. But once it's all inside, oh, and if you want it to taste right, I did find, take a little bit of table salt and throw just a little pinch in, not a lot, but otherwise it's just going to taste like fat and it's not very good. But salt, oh, there's a reason why people used to trade it in the old days, because it makes everything taste better. All right, once you've got it sealed and secured, you're going to shake it for 3 to 4 minutes. And you'll start to see a cream, and then another 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, you should see butter start to form. The thing is that you might have to pour off a little bit of liquid from the top and pour that out. Then the rest of it you kind of squish out, and what you should have left is, in fact, butter. You see, the science is the cream has clumps of fat and protein in it. When they hit each other, and as you shake the bag, they stick together and they form a bigger clump, and that bigger clump is, in fact, butter. You can make sure that you have that salt and get yourself a knife, maybe a piece of bread, spread it over it, boom! You made your very own butter using science and math. See all the fun you can have with math? I showed you a way to have fun with math, hopefully today, as we looked at all the different letters of STEAM. We looked at science, technology, engineering, art, and now math. So for the summer, we focused on STEAM. But don't worry, in the school year, I intend to continue with kitchen science. So until then, I hope to see you full steam ahead to infinity and beyond.
To infinity and beyond!